another year has passed and we are here again to discuss what's happened around the house of the FCI. How would you describe the last 1 year, this period, in one word or in a short sentence or phrase?
Well, that's that's a good question in the beginning because there are many things coming into my mind. It was a very difficult year, and maybe the best word is challenging because it was
Challenging in which ways?
in every possible way. Because last time we talked about the COVID a lot. I don't want to go back to that topic, even if it's even influenced this year a little bit. But anti-breeding propaganda became much stronger, especially lately. And then we are having a war. A war is not a topic of kynology, but a war is a topic of every single little part of our life when it's present. And we cannot avoid this problem to deal with.
Can we go deeper into these topics because they have started a while ago? I mean, anti-breeding propaganda, and it is
Yes.
still going on. So it defined the last some months, and it will define the following years how kynology will go, what other problems will be.
It was not totally unforeseen, to be honest. That's why the FCI was very proactive, actually, because we organized the FCI webinar about how to deal with the anti-breeding propaganda, and we did it last year. It was a webinar with over 200 participants appointed by the FCI member kennel clubs for all three sections, because the problems are different in each section, and we try to tailoring the problem and its possible solution section by section. Actually, we provided quite complex materials, statistics, and methods to be used to try to avoid the situation happening, and when it's happened, then how to deal with it. But of course, this guideline can be used or ignored. So we hoped, and we still hope, it will be used in the proper way. Of course, a joint action is always strong, but in this particular project, the problems really and in its depths only can be solved in your own country, in your own language, with your own decision makers. So every kennel club needs to use the materials and create even more materials or asking more help for support, because it has to be done in the peacetime, before the problem comes. In many cases, it worked well. It was a problem, serious problem, let's say in Colombia and in Greece. And they used the materials, and at the moment, it seems the situation eased a lot. Also, when the problem happened, a huge problem happened to Holland, we made a lot of things, and we made a contract in England. So I traveled to England. I made a contract with the Cambridge professor, Jane Ledlow, who is now working to the Kennel Club of United Kingdom. And we made the research of this BOAS functional testing system international, providing more international approach, more number, and to be able to make more valid statistics. So this is going on, actually more than 15, I don't know actually how many at this moment, but last time I've asked, it was 15 FCI member kennel clubs contracted and start to make the project.
And what to do with those situations where it already got worse? Because you mentioned that you have to work on the solution before the war starts. And what to do with these situations? Because if anyone ignored reality, recently We have a situation in Norway where they try to ban the breeding of two breeds, and we have problems with the regulations related to dog shows, if I'm right, in Austria and in Germany as well. And the German situation started to escalate recently.
Yes. Talking about the Norwegian case, when we learned this from the Facebook, I have to tell you, I like to learn the problems directly in a professional, official communication. But nevertheless, we contacted to the Norwegian Kennel Club, and days after it started to escalate, we had an executive committee meeting online together with the Norwegian Kennel Club board. And it was a very good, very fruitful meeting. And then we together decided to send an appeal to the Norwegian court with a lot of details. A strange thing is, you said these breeds are banned. No, they are not banned. Anybody can produce them without registration, without any testing. Only the members of the Norwegian Kennel Club cannot produce them with testing and with registration. So when the basic idea to improve the status, health and welfare status of the dogs, of course, when you give responsibility for those who are invisible, unregistered, and never test their dogs, the result will not be what you hoped for. That's why the main issue and the main project what every country has to think about it and communicate to the decision makers, the kennel clubs with their registered professional breeders using hundreds of different methods, tests, functional tests, DNA tests, X-ray, ultrasound for heart, and many others. They are the partner of the decision makers to make the situation better. One of the most important duty for every single kennel club nowadays to make the decision maker politicians to understand we are the partner because we can work together in this very important priority of the European Union now against the illegal puppy farming, puppy transport, because we are visible, the dogs are tested, the dogs are registered, and it can be made a follow-up about the situation and proper statistics. When, let's say, a statistic appears, a certain breed has this and that many problems, and then we find out not even 8 or 10% of these look-alike dogs bred by breeders who are attached to the kennel clubs, it means maybe those are the ones who make the statistic better. So it is the time for every country to make it clear and to divide the professional breeders. I'm not talking about professional money-wise, but the way they act, the way they plan a litter, the way they raise a litter, the way they choose the new owners. This is the professional part of it. So, and we have to divide, and the politicians has to understand it has to be divided, who is in that side and who is in the other side, who doesn't do all of this, only asking for money and selling the dogs by the internet. And when it happened, and we are visible in this way, then I think also the decision makers will understand who are the partner. Also very important to be attached to a good animal welfare organization in your country. You have to be contacted with. They are not enemies. Those who handle us as enemy, maybe they don't understand what we are doing, tell them. Or if they keep behave like enemies, they are not the right ones because they have some other agenda created by someone else, and you cannot change their mind because of some of the reasons which is not connected to dogs, I have to tell you. But for those who are able to understand the meaning and they understand that we are having the same target and we can work together with, you have to involve them and their activity into your Kennel Club. That's what we actually done already since last year in the FCI, when we started to make a strong partnership with some animal welfare organization. And as a result, now some of the leaders is sitting in some committees, and now they completely changed the narrative and the approach to the FCI. It didn't happen before, but it's a lot of work and the work has to be done. And I just repeat it, if you start to work when there is a war in your country, war, I mean political war or a situation, then it's a little bit too late, but it's never too late. So that's what should be done and has to be done in each country.
So just to sum up the takeaway message, because it is a big problem everywhere, and I'm not sure, but I see that people are frustrated and nervous, that you have to act together within the country, because they can sort out the problems. The FCI has no influence on legal regulations. Okay, the FCI can advise, recommend things, but it can't happen that the legislative measures of a country would change just because the FCI does something. So it is a joint work related to communication, to make a better understanding with many different stakeholders, and it takes time. And that's why you have to act in advance.
Yes, national legislation is always above the FCI regulation. But before this national legislation happens, then the FCI can influence. We send a lot of supportive letters to different countries, and it worked quite well. But for that, we have to get the official information from the country, is something wrong and they need help. Without it, we don't know exactly what to do and how to act. But we are supporting actively all this problem. But I have to tell you, the guideline, what was provided to the FCI, has to be used in your own country all the time.
And as you mentioned, each situation is different.
Yes.
The context is different. The problem
The
is
language
different.
is different. The mentality, the culture. It's very different how to communicate successfully with the decision makers in the different area of this world, because the mentality, the culture, the technique of discussion is different.
Yes, I agree. And I'm sure we will talk about this a lot in the following years, because
For
it takes
sure.
time to sort it out and to fix these problems and to restore the reputation and to fight back. And you mentioned the other challenge the FCI has been facing, and this is the war in Ukraine, which has an impact. It is still on. It has an effect. We could talk a lot about the anger and fury of people. They wanted the FCI to act, to do something, and it is not an easy topic to talk about. But I think we should talk about this a bit.
I have to admit, every single emotion related to this is valid, and I can understand very well. I have to tell you, my house where we are sitting now is 350 kilometers from the border of Ukraine. So we feel this problem on our skin. We are having 500,000 refugees from Ukraine here in Hungary and in many other countries. And we have to deal with this personal drama and tragedy in a daily basis, and we do that. Having a political war and maintaining a professional worldwide organization is a very difficult task, and we have to maintain. If somebody said FCI did nothing, that's not true for sure. First of all, the FCI decided to withdraw all its activity, FCI-related international shows, trials, competition from Russia. This is really kind of sacrificing, I have to tell you, because many people say FCI doesn't do anything because of the money. I have to tell you, we cut all the money from Russia because the FCI money only can come from Katsib shows. And we stopped every Katsib shows in Russia from 1 week after the war, and it's still going on. So it's nothing to do with the money. It's a misunderstanding and very often interpreted wrongly. On the other hand, we didn't stop the gene pool, what they are having in Russia, because we have to maintain the situation without really losing a very important and big part of the gene pool of the purebred dogs. But that's their own duty now. FCI is not influencing. What we could do to support Ukraine, it's not even a question for a second. Ukraine is the victim, and Ukraine is the place and the people, first of all, to be supported. And the FCI decided to establish a fund, and this is the point where I have to thank everybody who sent money, because we had now over €500,000 coming from different organizations, private people. First of all, the first fund the donation was made by the FCI itself and the FCI European section. That is a huge amount of money, but even the British Kennel Club sent money and different kennel clubs and organizations. I'm very thankful of that. And the money goes in a daily basis. We created the rule how to get the money. And just to make it understand, the money not only can go to Ukraine by the request of the Ukrainian Kennel Club. We are in a daily working relationship with them, 5-6 times per day. We're communicating about it. But also, if some money needs in different countries related to the war, like Ukrainian refugees staying in some other countries, if the Kennel Club of that country control the situation and validate the need of the money, they can request from the FCI, and the FCI will send the money for the account what the Kennel Club provide to solve a problem. Because this is a human problem, this is a personal one, a lot of dogs involved, and I'm not only talking about to go to the veterinarian with this dog, but to give food, and even food for those people who owns the dog. So we earned a lot of money, which I'm really grateful, and thank you for everyone. And we spend it every day in a very official regime, and we created a very transparent way of it, and it works very well. So while we cut every money coming from Russia and every international activity, also the Agility World Championship was removed from Russia immediately. We try to support the victims, the Ukrainian. I have to tell you something else. Soon, in June, we will have the FCI General Assembly after 3 years, the first one because of the COVID. And this is one of the points in the agenda, what to do and how to deal with the situation. Everything what can be decided must be decided following the FCI statutes. Otherwise, the whole institute will be broken. Every emotion and every reaction has to be formatted to a good legal way, and I'm sure this 98 country, which is a member of the FCI, will have the will, the wisdom, and the possibility to decide in a possibly best way, not to hurt those who are victims, and still keep the institute together and to save the gene pool. Very complex. This is a topic. If you say yes, many people will be hurted. If you say no, almost the same amount of people will be hurted as well. Very difficult. The only way to solve this problem to try to be professional. But of course, emotions are here. Myself, as Tamás Jakkel, can be slightly different than Tamás Jakkel as the president of the FCI, who is responsible with my team. It's not a one-man show. My board, my committee working every day with this. It could be slightly different because my personal emotions has to be modified by our responsibility. Complex, and we just hope this problem will go away soon, but that actually I cannot see it will happen, but let's hope for it. And now, a lot of other things happens because of the war. Now we feel the war in our house, even if it's a peaceful place, because of prices, because of inflation. And this is also a fact which will affect the dog shows, the dog breeding, the dog owning, to sell the puppies, to have a dog for the future. It's a very complex problem, and we try to analyze it even before it happened, because this is a big issue. We have to deal with it in the next few years, not only a few days or months.
These are complex things, and this is another reason why to be sensible and reasonable, ignoring the emotions, because you can't make a good decision driven by emotion. And it is a complex situation, and the consequences will be long-running as well, in case of the war and in case of the other war, which is on the territory of pedigree breeding. And after all these really drastic and dramatic happenings, do you have any memories of any positive events over the last 1 year? Because so far it was a really depressed image what is going around in the world. We feel that every day.
Of course, when you have to deal only and always with a problem, you should tend to be frustrated or even depressed. Luckily, I'm not a person who easily can be depressed. Always try to keep the positive approach and always plan the future in a way, because if we don't believe in a good future, then we can go home and just let things happen and leave it. It's not going to happen, for sure, not in my case and in my committee also. We've been very positive and proactive in the last year. We launched the program what we promised 3 years ago, which is an online complex education program for breeders, for owners, and it's very important for the society, because it teaches the people how to be a responsible owner of a dog. And this is the proactive program launched by the Royal Canin, our partner, with our full support and full activity. And we launched the program together last year, and we had huge interest and a couple of thousand online visitors in the online meeting. The program is going on, available for everyone. We really working on that subject, how to get and how to keep the young people in the sport. This is a complex thing. We are always talking about the shows, because shows are the most visible activity. And someone could call FCI as an international show organizing committee, which is a completely wrong approach. There are no other international dog-related organization who created rules for every single existing dog-related sport: dog dancing, agility, IGP, flyball, frisbee. Everything. We established rules, we established professional commissions, and we are establishing competition by the FCI. So I think in this subject, to engage the young people, these sports are maybe even more important than the dog shows. Just recently, I visited the FCI Dog Dancing World Championship in France. It never happened before an FCI president visited that. Also, I was the first who visited the IGP competition. It was a big arena, full, and and it was a good feeling, not in a personal way only, how enthusiastic and how happy in both occasions people been to realize somebody from the FCI, actually the leader, was there with them. It was a not horrendous, it was an applause which I still remember. And I've seen a lot of young people there competing, not just talking about the dogs, but competing, being active, working together with the dogs on a daily basis, and even more importantly, creating a net, a community, because that's the only way to go deep into the society. If we are able, or are people able to establish and build communities related to the dogs. So all in all, we revitalized the FCI Youth, which was already an existing committee before, but the last General Assembly decided that's not the way how it should be, and we established another kind of commission. When the first meeting was there, I participated. It was an online meeting because, of course, because of the COVID, they never could meet. But when we had a meeting, I realized how talented young people they are from different countries, actually from different continents. And I asked them to work on special projects and to make a summary about it in a webinar. And it just happened a few weeks ago. And I'm so very proud of them because they've been so professional. Any of them could sit in any of our other commissions because they are so very good. And now they got some new challenges, some new problems to solve it, because I could say, not just me, because it was a lot of a big audience in this webinar. But now, when the best thing is when you realize and recognize a talent, you try to keep them more work to do. But that's what we can make us further on. FCI Youth is very good, moving very well and forward, and a very unique entity has been established in the FCI, which is not a usual commission, but a committee. Committee means the persons and the member of the committee are appointed by person. And this is the Dog Welfare and Health Committee. It was established last year and led by Dr. Peiro, who is a member of the General Committee of the FCI, but we invited not only FCI people from the PR, people from leaders from animal welfare organization, from the press, And I want it to be a window to the society. And it works very well. Now they started to produce different important documents, also related to the European legislation. We already got 2. They soon will be published, and they are working very interesting and very important on the material to be advertised and to be promoted what we are doing. Related to this new committee, something will happen what never happened before. In this October, the Mexican Kennel Club organized with the FCI together the first World Congress of Dog Welfare and Health. A lot of very interesting topic with international stakeholders will be there, so it's very exciting, and it never happened before. So this kind of pioneer work seems to be more and more important every day. If someone should say, oh yes, because they love to travel, that's just not true. I have to tell you something. In most of the international organizations and companies, in these 3 years, with COVID and everything, just to survive was the result. And we are not just surviving, but we used a lot of technique, like the FCI people, the committee members, didn't travel at all in the last 2.5 years. But on the other hand, we learned to have online meetings whenever it needed, maybe in every month sometimes, or even in every 2 weeks. That's the only way now in these new circumstances to manage an organization like that. FCI historically was established to have 1 meeting per year. Later on, it was 2 general committee meetings per year. I mean, with this, we should die long ago. It has to be modernized, and I'm so very grateful because all of my committee members adopted the situation, and we all learned. I mean, nobody taught us. We learned how to deal with this situation and how to make decisions in a daily basis, sometimes via email, circulars, and it works very well. Of course, we would love to travel, but we had to save even money. Now we can travel, but we didn't travel. I mean, all the last meetings being online because there is a complex problem, and the FCI at the moment in a very stable economic situation. Of course, it's not like it was expected 3 years ago when we didn't know about all the new coming trouble, but this is safe, stable, and sound. We made a lot of sacrificing, but it was not a sacrificing. It's very interesting because it made us even more effective. So we learned something what we will use in the future, for sure.
I think it's always good if you can make
Yes.
good things out of bad situations. And listening to your own perception and experience about the positive side of life during the last 1 year, I detected one thing which is interesting besides enthusiasm, that all these things you highlighted are things which also haven't finished yet. So I can see a perspective which is planning based on long running things, so not just something that this good thing. I can sense a kind of strategical thinking in the long run.
I think the way how to approach into the society around us to make them understand what we are doing much better. It's already started. So our PR work in the last 2 years improved from 0 to quite high level. We establish a lot of good new things like podcasts, like Instagram. We are having the FCI for YouTube channel. Many images being created in a very positive manner without attacking anybody, because I think the positive approach, if you want to show your good side, it cannot happen to attack your counterpartners, let's say. And it went very well. What I would like to see, and not only me, to make the PR activity, which is quite good, bigger to the society, to the public. And this is a big challenge, and it's difficult to deal with. We just in the last few weeks established another PR team. They are working online with professional PR people. Also, they are involved in dogs, but they have the connection to create a news big to the public, not just in the inner circle of the dog breeders. We have to use another thing. Wherever you go, on the street, shopping, walking, hiking, playing with your kids, you meet with a lot of people around who are having dogs. We are together, we belong together, and many of them, I'm sure, having connection, personal connection. We are always thinking of a big vision, how to get the main press or the main person or the prime minister. This is good, but many times the problems can be solved from a lower level with personal connection, because a good and the right personal connection can lead you to the right way to find those people whom we have to find now. So that's a very challenging work. It has no history in the FCI. We are working on it, and I think we are on a good way to find a way. But this is long, and it's much longer than I would like to see and you all would like to see. But we are doing that.
The way you are talking about this sounds that this is one of the major,
I think so,
tasks
at the moment.
for the future. And what else you have in mind to cover or to solve, or do you think is it enough? I mean, it is. I mean enough in a sense that it is a huge task, a complex task, or do you have anything else in your mind for the following some years of the FCI to handle?
I think the FCI doesn't need anymore to teach how to breed dogs, because the professional breeders in different countries belonging to the different kennel clubs, they know it. We have to encourage those education programs where this knowledge cannot get lost, but carried on to the young generation. That's what I mentioned because of the FCI use, for example. To show our importance, we are not bad, we are good. We have to be proud what we are doing. I mean, what we are doing, it doesn't make us guilty in any way. Some dog people approach to feel a kind of, because of the lot of attacks, maybe what I'm doing is wrong or I'm guilty. No, we have to be proud of it. We create value. We create value to the society because we breed dogs as healthy as possible. Temperament is very good. When you cross different breeds to make them healthy, come on, the genetic doesn't choosing good genes and bad genes and collecting only good ones. These dogs are predictable. Nowadays I can even listen sometimes. The purebred dog predictability in temperament is not even true.
Can I have a comment on
Yes.
this? Because I know the story.
I didn't know why you put your
because
index.
it is the same situation when we are talking about outcrossing, because outcrossing is a concept which may work in certain situations, not all the time, and you have to understand the topic to it's not that simple as people think. It's not like a magic tool and you make miracle in an instant. And the paper you just mentioned, I haven't read the paper through, but I had a discussion about that with someone who read that, and that person is an ethologist, and the title and the content is different. And this is a huge problem in the current society, everywhere in the world, that we don't read. We just check the title, and the paper is about something more. Really complex. The paper itself is good. The title the media picked up is wrong, and it misleads people. And this is from the perspective of PR. This is the most difficult.
And
thing
the sad
to sort
thing
out.
is they does so with a reason behind. And that's very sad.
Because that is something that people will click to read the article, but not the whole paper.
You see, I'm breeding dogs since over 50 years. So I've seen many dogs growing up. I know exactly if I had a dog which was barking more than I wanted, then the puppies did so. If you ever seen a 6 weeks old pointer litter pointing with a game, with a ball, which a bloodhound or a cocker spaniel will never do. I mean, these temperament and character features are deeply fixed genetically. So I don't want to use unpolite words to say something about this sentence, the dogs are not predictable. But let's say it's very far from the truth. Yes, I think so.
Actually, that's why we covered this topic at the FCI podcast. That's why we talked about the personality of dog, the skills, how they develop. It is a very, very complex topic. You can't put it into one title or in one meme on Facebook or Instagram. And this is a big problem. How to?
So you ask about the future. This media part has to be strengthened, because if an untruth news can be implanted in the society, then we have to find a way, dear true things, to be implanted as well in the same society. Especially because it's not that difficult, because we are having a lot of dog owners. They basically friendly with us. When going back to the crossing, for crossing, you have to have purebred dogs. When they are talking about the breed, I don't want to mention the name now in this forum, but it's created by put two purebred dogs together. But what to do with the next generation? If you want to repeat this all the time, you have to have the same two breeds to put them together. Anyway, just leave this subject. What we also have to do, beside managing the benefits, we organized the BOAS functional conference and training. I told you I made a contract with Mrs. Jane Ledlow, Dr. Jane Ledlow, who is a veterinarian and who established the BOAS functional testing with grading. And now in many countries they use it to evaluate the breeding stock, because they say with this grade the dog cannot be bred from, but if it's healthy, even if it has a short foreface, because now the statistics shows the functional problem, I mean the symptoms, not exactly related to the length of the nose. There are many other part of it, even the condition of the dog. A fat dog can have a bigger problem even if it has a longer nose. So it's going back to the responsible ownership. But what I want to say, we organizing an FCI training with Dr. Jane Ledlow, but the COVID, we wanted it last year. but because of the COVID, it was not possible. Now we want to organize this in this autumn, where it's going to be a conference to understand the system, and then in the afternoon or next day, a training, practical training, where we provide docs and groups of veterinarian can examine the dogs and making the grading. For that, I would like to repeat what I've done just a few weeks ago in the FCI European Section General Assembly. We kindly ask, even now, right now, the kennel clubs to engage good veterinarians. Make a contract, make a partnership, and those veterinarians can be the one to be sent to the training and being able to make the grading after that, going home and teach the other veterinarian in the country. So this is a teach the teachers system, what we try to establish. And I think, and I hope this can be done in September or October. So a lot of technical details has to be done, but it's decided it will go on. And in October, we will have, as I told you, the Dog Welfare and Health World Conference first time. Also, this new PR online team with the help of the already existing FCI PR group, which is very effective and very good, can work together. I have to tell you, the clicks on the FCI tools like website and Facebook was 10 times more than 3 years ago. This is a huge result because it means the interest was created. It's not just boring without information. A lot of information can come, and especially nowadays, people need the feeling they belong together. They are not alone with the problem, and this is a possible forum for that. Very important. So those are the plans for the next period, and there are many more, but some of them is not that well established to talk about it, but my brain is always going on.
Yeah, the good thing listening to you is that it is obvious that the situation is not that shiny at all, and not just for the FCI, but if you take a look at Europe or the world, because we have crisis in economy, many other things.
Yeah.
But it is really good and really refreshing to hear that you have scenarios, different scenarios for the different problems. You see how it should be handled, because problems there are to be solved, to be handled, and it is really good to hear that you have a concept for the following period, what to do and how to do. So I wish you good luck and courage and energy and drive with that, because I think you will really need that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. But I'm saying, when there is a sun shining, there's always a shadow somewhere. And if you are in shadow and you cannot see the sun because you don't know where is it, switch the light on and try to make the light, even if it's artificial, your own. And then you can understand the shadows more, but the light is already there or created by you. This is very important. Keeping the positivity. The game only lost when and after it lost. You know, my profession, I'm a surgeon. We never give it up in the operating theater. As long as the last beat of the heart, we are fighting. And that's what I learned in that 30 years when I had this profession, and that's how I'm living.
We are happy to have this kind of mentality, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.